Well, hey, good morning. It's Rob, and I like to come on here and try to add to my Michael Jackson content whenever developments arise. I don't do it on a regular basis, but if you've seen any of my other videos, you are aware of the fact that I did, in fact, work with Michael Jackson in the studio during the recording of Dangerous. I was not an important person. I didn't do anything other than get lunch and clean up the studio for 2 years. It was not a high profile job, anything glamorous, but I was there every day during the making of the album. Dangerous, work with some folks and they said, did you ever meet him? I was like, yeah, I saw him every day. Every day I said, good morning. He came in and he was there. Anyway, so interesting development from a few months ago, which is actually unrelated to what I'm going to talk about today. Well, it's related in the fact that we're talking about the same people. But anyway, they found like a treasure trove of unreleased Michael Jackson DAT tapes, which are digital tapes. They're smaller than cassettes, and they were digital as opposed to analog, which is, your normal analog cassette format. Anyway, it was a lot of unreleased songs that Michael was working with a producer at the time named Bryan Loren. I've done multiple videos about Bryan, spoken about him and his role on the Dangerous project, and the fact that he was working on Dangerous in the beginning for a certain amount of months or maybe a year or whatever, but ultimately none of the work he did ended up on Dangerous. He was kind of removed from the project, or they just discontinued their working relationship, whatever the situation was. Anyway, so people have been saying for a while, like, Bryan Loren disappeared. Where is he? We haven't heard anything about him. Well, we're going to hear that he's reappeared in a minute. But first of all, so there was this, collection of, unreleased recordings that they found in a storage locker in California. This guy was trying to figure out what to do, if he was going to sell them, if the estate wanted them. The estate said they already had these. They were just copies. They weren't interested. But that, of course, there really wasn't much he could do other than just sell them to someone else. He doesn't own the rights to the music. You cannot release music you don't own the rights to, especially Michael Jackson music. They would shut that down in a minute if it ever happened. So I don't know the disposition of his collection. But interestingly enough, and we're finally getting to the topic of this video, 3 minutes in, pretty much a typical situation for my videos. Anyway, so producer Bryan Loren has shown up again. Apparently, he wasn't happy that, even though I guess he had just forgotten to pay the rent on his storage locker or whatever. Or, I don't know, somehow these things got lost in a storage locker and they went to a different person, although they should be Bryan Loren's property. Anyway, so Bryan, himself has, similar recordings, unreleased recordings from the time, late 80s, early 90s. He was working with Michael. And now he tried in an auction to release a compilation cassette from these same DAT tapes of a lot of these unreleased songs. And spoiler alert, they didn't sell. So they were hoping to get $150,000 or $200,000. The minimum bid was $60,000. And they put it up on this auction site where a lot of these things end up. And there were no bids. Just nobody was biting. Apparently, the estate commented, said they weren't happy about this or whatever, but I don't know if there's anything they can do until someone tries to release the music, and then there's a lot they can do. But there just, wasn't anyone who was willing to bite, wasn't anyone who was willing to pay that kind of money, and really, why would you pay even $60,000? So, okay, you could hear some unreleased Michael Jackson songs. Of course, there are huge Michael Jackson fans, people that would love this, but it's a lot of money for something that you just can't do anything with. What are you going to do with these Michael Jackson songs? Make your own Michael Jackson CD and put it out on your own record label? No, you don't have any of the rights to any of these songs. You don't have permission to do it. They would just, like I said, cut you off in a minute. So there's really nothing you could do. You could leak it out, I guess, and other people could hear it or something. But there really wouldn't be much you could do to monetize these demo songs, again, they're demos, for the most part. They're not really finished. They're not something Michael would have intended to release. They're songs probably that they even passed over thinking, this just wasn't a great song. So it's hard to know what Michael's intentions would be today. Anyway, what did these tapes contain that didn't sell? It said unreleased, unedited songs, from Michael Jackson's time with Bryan Loren, presented by, Bryan Loren himself. He made like a mixtape of some of these songs, and we can take a look at the image, what the tape cover looks like right here. So it's just like the same mixtape you would have made in, college or whatever for your girlfriend, and just contained a few of these different songs. What was on there very quickly? I'll go over what was on there just from the description on the auction website, just so you know what these songs are. And again, didn't end up selling, so nobody's got a copy of this other than, I guess, Brian or whoever already had it. 7 digits, 15 minutes long. Well, all right, so that's like a work tape. They're working on different versions of the songs and that kind of thing, different arrangements and probably stops and starts and whatever. It's just a live, DAT recording that someone had rolling in the studio as they were working. It says it doesn't even have the theme of 7 digits yet, so it's kind of like the music to 7 digits, if you've heard 7 digits, but they're not quite there yet. And there's some studio chatter. It would be interesting to hear, of course, but probably not $60,000 interesting, especially not $150,000 interesting. Serious Effect is the next song. I've had a copy of this song for many years that Michael left in my car when he was trying to listen to it in different environments and, different vehicles, things like that. And it was a cassette that he left in there. So Serious Effect, I'm very familiar with. Has a rap by LL Cool J. It says this version only has Michael's vocals, and it's longer than the version that's leaked out. Again, most of the stuff has been leaked. Sadly, Brad Sundberg, when his laptop was stolen, he does the In the Studio with MJ seminar. Somebody stole his laptop, I believe, in Brussels, and released all of this stuff. So a lot of this is out there. Serious Effect you can hear if you want to. It's a pretty cool song. It's kind of similar to the stuff Teddy Riley, eventually started doing, but just not quite there, not as industrial or, New Jack Swing enough. It's more still on the R&B side. It's a decent song, but just hasn't come out. Son of Thriller, an instrumental. I don't remember what this was for. Maybe like an intro to a concert or some, like what they call interstitial music they put between segments and things. I'm not sure what it is, or it was for something. It was for a charity event, or I don't remember now, but whatever. It's called Son of Thriller. It's never been released. I don't think it's out there. She Got It. I've certainly heard that song before. This again is like a work tape, 5 minutes of it with some studio chatter and that kind of stuff. Has been leaked out. Superfly Sista, of course, is on Blood on the Dance Floor. It says this is the unedited rough cut, 7 minutes and 28 seconds, so longer than what you normally hear. There's a great video online, and I've talked about this before, with Michael and Bruce Swedeen in Record One Studios where I worked. And Bruce, the engineer, producer, is saying, Michael, we have too many songs and they're too long, so you're going to have an option. You're either going to have to cut some of the songs off of Dangerous, or you're going to have to edit them down and make them shorter and take out sections and that kind of stuff. What do you want to do? And Michael said, edit. He didn't want to get rid of any song. So I'm not surprised. A song like Superfly Sista is 7 minutes, and they would have had to cut it down even for the Blood on the Dance Floor album or wherever it got released. Work That Body, again, a rough cut. MJ is singing on it, it says. Edited version that's 2 minutes shorter has been leaked out, so same situation. All the Truth You Need, I couldn't find that one. I don't believe that's ever been leaked, never been heard, never leaked. Lead vocals by Bryan Loren with Michael singing background. Now, don't forget, Bryan Loren also did Do the Bartman, the Simpsons song. It was rumored that Michael was singing backgrounds on it, and I I've always said, like, I don't think it was him. I was there when they recorded that song. Michael was definitely in the studio listening and that kind of thing. He may have done some recording, but I don't really think it's on the final version. So this seems like a similar situation. Bryan Loren singing and MJ helping out. Call It Off. It says this song has never been leaked, never heard. And again, these are songs that, maybe Michael would have ultimately rejected, that they just aren't that great or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know anything about this song. Call It Off. I Don't Want to Marry You. Those are the lyrics. It says again, Bryan Loren singing and Michael singing the chorus. Now, don't forget, Bryan Loren was his own, was a music artist on his own. He had a song called Lollipop Love. He released a CD soon after he was no longer working on Dangerous. I didn't really do much. I think it was only a European release. And one of the songs here on the list ended up on his CD. It's like the last song on his CD. Truth on the Youth. I've heard about this song. LL Cool J. I think LL Cool J, it says, is doing the vocals on this one. LL's doing everything, so it's like kind of a demo for Michael to hear what he might sing on it, but never got further than that. It has like all the other titles too, besides Truth on the Youth. I've heard Truth on Youth and different versions. Don't Believe It. 4 minutes and 46 seconds. It says, we've never heard this one. It's never been leaked. And again, I'm just reading the auction description. It's possible it's been leaked out somewhere or whatever. A song that MJ sang and some studio chatter. A song called Work with Janet singing, the original unedited version. Sounds like this has leaked out as well. To Satisfy You. This is the song that ended up on Bryan Loren's record. It might have been one of his songs. The lead vocals have Bryan. MJ just sang in the chorus or backgrounds. Don't forget, he also did that for Rockwell. Somebody's Watching Me, Berry Gordy's son, and Michael, of course, sang the chorus on that one. And again, that appeared on Bryan's solo record that didn't really sell very much either, or didn't even, get it released in the United States. And it says there's another cassette they're going to include singing the classic San Francisco, I guess a cover of that song, a cappella. It's only 15 seconds, but whatever, you can hear it. So I think this came with like an autographed picture and a couple of other things, as well as the cassette and, whatever music was included. But ultimately, like I said, there just wasn't any interest. No rich person came along to buy this. And again, I'm not surprised. You can't really do anything with this music. I mean, I know obsessive Michael Jackson fans want to hear every single thing he ever did, and I get it. There are artists that I love too, that I want to hear, unreleased things and things they were working on and whatever. But, it's hard to value these things because, again, you just cannot monetize this. You just can't put together your own compilation CD and, start selling it even online or whatever, set up a website. You would be, shut down in seconds. So there's a limited amount of, appeal to these demos, besides the fact that people really would love to hear them and whatever. That's kind of what Brad Sundberg does in his seminars. He plays the unreleased songs, so it's a place where you can at least hear these unreleased songs. Of course, you can't record them or have your phone with you or do anything with them. And so that's it. That's the latest and the greatest news. So it's good to hear Bryan Loren is still around. A lot of people said he's, gone. He disappeared. We don't know where he is. Well, clearly he's still out there. Clearly he's still trying to see if what he has, from his time with Michael Jackson has any value. Hey, I'm doing the same thing. I'm making a YouTube video because I want to see if the information I have about my time with Michael Jackson is valuable to anybody. And I guess we'll find out when we put this video out. But anyway, so that's the latest. The stuff didn't sell. It's still out there. A lot of it is unheard, never released. People would love to hear it, but unless you got big bucks just to add it to your own personal record collection, that's going to be about it, for these unreleased songs. Most likely we just won't hear about these again for a long time to come. There's still that auction of the other group of unreleased songs. I think some of them have overlap and are similar to these songs. And I don't know that those have been put up for auction again, but, It's not very likely that too much more is going to happen with them unless someone wants to sell it for a really cheap price just to make, $5,000 or 10 grand or something. Maybe they'll find somebody. But again, there's a question of what can you do with it? And the answer is nothing. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.